I'm your Jackson County neighborhood reporter Olivia Pajot here at the Napoleon Cafe, asking neighbors about a ballot question for this November. And it's on funding for law enforcement. And people in my neighborhood aren't the only one that will make a decision like this one.
That's right, Olivia. I'm your Eaton County neighborhood reporter Willem Inc. here in Mulliken at Swede's Restaurant, where voters here will have a question on the ballot as well. It's a tax increase that county officials say is desperately needed for public safety funding. And with the election around the corner, we're also looking at how whoever wins the White House could have an effect on law enforcement funding. But first, we're going to go to Olivia in Jackson County.
Thanks, Will. The Napoleon Cafe has been a neighborhood favorite for decades. I stopped into this corner of Jackson County to ask neighbors about the jail operations millage that will appear on the November ballot. The sheriff's office says if it passes, the money could be used to keep the office and jail running as they are right now. Otherwise, they're facing a budget shortfall. According to the county, it would cost the average Jackson County taxpayer an extra $19 per year.
It was kind of confusing, and us voters were confused.
This millage is a familiar one, but not the same as a previous version that failed. Jerry Adams tells me his vote is still undecided.
We know we need it, absolutely, and we're not having a problem maybe paying for it, but we need some more direction. We need some more clarity.
Even though he has not decided how he'll vote, he hopes it passes and hopes to see support for local law enforcement.
We need more officers on the road. We need more presence in our force. We need to keep our communities and our neighborhoods safe.
The Sheriff's Department has told me in the past that if this operations millage fails, it could lead to the elimination of about 12 full-time positions, as well as ending the Sheriff's Department night patrol and the closure of the secondary jail facility. All of that sounds like a bad idea to Howard McMullen, who's a regular here. He says his vote on the millage is a yes.
We have to understand and realize that our law enforcement is doing the best they can do under the circumstances. They're faced with some difficult situations. They can't hardly do their job in many instances for fear of either losing their work, losing their jobs, or their life.
He's supporting the millage even if it means a higher tax bill.
Groceries, gasoline, everything in the nation right now is sky high. And it's sad. So somebody's going to pay. I mean, they're going to pay one way or another.
A higher tax bill that McMullen hopes leads to a safer neighborhood. And my neighbors certainly aren't the only ones talking about what it costs right now to get by. I'm your Jackson County neighborhood reporter, Olivia Pajot. And now here's my colleague, your Eaton County neighborhood reporter, Willem Inc.
Thanks, Olivia. Here in Mulliken inside Swede's Restaurant, I talked to Will Simon. He runs the Mulliken Food Pantry and is a village council member. He sees neighbors who need help with essentials, food.
At the Mulliken Area Food Pantry, we see about 100 to 200 people per month on average. It's been a little bit slower lately, but usually it's around that much.
So he knows the cost of living challenges many are facing in this neighborhood. He says he'll likely vote no when neighbors here and around Eaton County vote on the tax proposal on next week's ballot.
I feel like a lot of people are really hurting financially right now. I feel like it's not a lot of money, but it's enough where people who are really low income are going to really struggle with it.
County officials say they are asking for the property tax increase because of budget shortfalls. The county says if it passes, it would cost the average homeowner $18 per month. Eaton County Sheriff Tom Reich has said road patrol countywide could be cut if it doesn't pass. While I was at the restaurant, I also talked to Rob Piercefield, a former county commissioner and owner of Swede's Restaurant. He's leaning yes on the vote, emphasizing the county is in need of the money to remain competitive in hiring officers.
At the Sheriff's Department, they have a hard time hiring new guys because they don't have competitive wages. So, I mean, in the long run, I don't want to pay more taxes just like everyone else, but in the long run, it may be a reality we have to face.
Robert North, another Eaton County neighbor, voted no on the proposal. He says the price is too much to ask for.
We're retired now. We're on a fixed income, and these millages can't keep going up and up and up. They keep asking for more, let alone not only for the counties, but for the school districts also.
Another question is what the presidential race could mean for funding for law enforcement around the county. Former President Trump supports what he calls a, quote, record investment in hiring, retention, and training for police officers, end quote. Vice President Kamala Harris has focused on her history in law enforcement as a prosecutor, And the New York Times reports she supports continued funding for law enforcement. From Mulliken, I went to nearby Sunfield and asked local business owners and neighbors if anyone would be willing to speak on the proposal. They led me to Robert Overholt, who has been a longtime neighbor here and who is a yes voter on the tax proposal.
We're going to vote this time, but they better not be coming back in quite a few years.
But he's not confident the vote will pass, even though he thinks it's needed.
They are in a dilemma. They are out of money. They are going to have to literally close things down or get rid of personnel. We don't have a choice, really, but a lot of people that's pulling that yes and no selector will have a choice.
The vote will be decided in November by voters like Simon, Piercefield, North, Overhaul, and you. In Eaton County, I'm Willamink, Fox 47 News.